Hello everyone, and welcome. I figured that I would elaborate a little bit more on my upcoming book, Fear the Unknown. This is following the events of The Game of Unknown, a game I put out 2 years ago on Steam. It was just a survival horror game where you just had to survive the night as you explored the abandoned school. So, I guess we'll just get right into it. Figured in case anyone was curious or not. So, let's get started. Question 1. Do you have to play the Game of Unknown first? Well, no, you don't have to. I mean, there's some minor callbacks and things to the game, I put in, but it's more like a supplemental kind of thing. If you played the game, I hope you appreciate the little things, and, it's a little like, oh, that happened there, and get in the game and stuff. But if you didn't play, that's totally fine. It didn't really have any real character or story beats because it was just meant to be, my first game. So everything in the book, pretty much I built up from the ground up anyways, because there wasn't much of an actual story that the book had to take over from the game. You don't have to play the game. If you wanted, if you did play it, that's great. If you didn't, that is totally fine. Okay, question 2. What kind of horror is used throughout the book? Well, honestly, it's the same fear I tried to capture in the game. The fear of the unknown. Man, that line wrote itself. But seriously, the fear of not knowing what's out there, the idea of not being alone, it's more of a psychological fear I like to use. Question 3. What was your inspiration for writing this book? Well, as you can probably tell, I am a fan of horror games and the idea of just horrifying weird creatures and stuff. I tried doing that in the Game of Unknown and I struggled a lot. So suffice to say, this book shouldn't be held back by my bad programming skills. Alright, question 4. What was the biggest challenge while writing the book? Well, kind of connecting to the last question, I think the biggest challenge was trying to get the dread and suspense that I wanted to portray, because the horror book should slowly intertwine the fears and stuff. You don't want to have it all at once. It has to slowly weave it in steady layers. That's something I have never done before as a writer or just anything for that matter. It took a lot of learning and trial and error, but I'd like to feel I learned a lot writing this book. I hope the scenes are as intense as I wanted them to be. I hope. And question 5. How does this book differ from your previous works? Well, that pretty much connects to the last question. Now, I've written 3 nonsensical poetry books that were just meant to be goofy and whatnot, so you have that. My actual previous book was Star Scene Adventures, The Pirates of Rockwell. That was a sci-fi book dealing with the robot species called Cytex, and that was dealing with space exploration and factions. Fear the Unknown is my first book dealing with horror. It was a learning experience, but I've learned a lot of writing intense scenes and character interactions this time around. Because this time, since it's a horror focused and less was Star Scene Adventures, was more about the action and climactic battles. This is more personal. So I had to work more on character interactions and showing their emotions through dialogue because, this is a different type of story. Alright, and that's it. This was just enough to, clarify a few things. Like, you don't have to play the game. This works as its own. I really liked writing it. It was just different. One day I'd like to revisit it, maybe continue the story. We'll see. For now, I'm working on my other projects and stuff. But thank you so much for watching. This will be on Amazon via ebook and paperback some point this month in October, because you gotta have the horror in October. I mean, I can't mess that up. I don't know. I'm leaning towards maybe around the 17th. I mean, I'll definitely post when it's definite. There's still just small tweaks I gotta finish making the cover. That's why the cover says mock-up on it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you then.